I'm so excited for the year-long journey on Cox Campus and the discussion for today.
Yes, I am excited to be here and share this space with everybody, and you're ready to get rolling and jump into some content with everybody.
Agreed. Thank you all for commenting in the chat. And we look forward to a rich discussion. Come on in the Zoom room.
Yes, they are still rolling in. These are great. I love seeing where everybody's tuning in.
Tennessee. Hey, Regina.
We've got Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
Alabama, Georgia. This is great.
Oh, all the way from Massachusetts. Love it. Awesome. And so we're going to dive right in. Like we said, this is all about the power of language and developing relationships through conversation. And so we're going to dive in. We have a great crowd here today. And before we jump in, let's just share who we are. And then, of course, we want to know who you are. I am Crystal Grimes. I am a facilitator for the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy at the Atlanta Speech School. I've been in the field, and I'm aging myself here, Lethea, for 25 years, and I truly enjoy collaborating with my colleagues in Rollins, much like yourself, Lethea, and I enjoy so much empowering families with our practical strategies. You can literally implement them right away, and they're research-based, and they're right on Cox Campus, and you all know that because you've taken the courses and you've been on the discussion boards and chats, and so we genuinely appreciate that. And in my spare time, I enjoy the spa and quality time with my family. So Lethea, I will let you introduce yourself, and then we're going to introduce some other special guests in our session today.
Awesome. Well, my name is Lethea Lipscomb. I am a Birth to 5 facilitator at the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy. I've been in education for 11 years now, and I'm passionate about educational equity. I believe every child, regardless of where they grow up, what they have access to, no matter what, has the right to have an equitable, high quality education. So I'm really passionate about that. I've been working in the field for a number of years now, and going to continue. And so I'm so excited to share this space with you all today, all of you educators. And in my free time, I love to go on walks or hikes around Atlanta or Georgia. And I also enjoy binge watching shows on Netflix, always looking for a great recommendation.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, you know what, we're going to jump to the chat in just a moment to share more about where we are joining from and how confident we feel about our practices. But I want to introduce a couple of our special guests in the chat. You won't see them on screen, but Sam and our very own Laura will be helping us in the chat to answer questions. They'll help to fill questions as well as to answer some of the questions right away for you. So keep the comments coming. We appreciate it so very much. And now back to this slide. If you have not done so already, please share with us what state you are joining us from. And then also share with us, how confident do you feel in your current knowledge and practice? We'd love to know that in the Zoom room, as I call it. So go ahead and drop that in the chat for us. And we will continue forward as you are commenting about that. You've heard from us and found out a little bit about who we are. And we're finding out a little bit about you and who you are. And with that, I love the fact that Cox Campus kind of brings us together, right, Lethea?
Yeah, sure does.
So on this next slide, it really just talks about our values. It talks about the Cox Campus way, right? Our core values. It should be rewarding, right? As a result of our experiences on Cox Campus, we want to become our best self. We want to make sure that we're doing all that we can to positively impact the needs of young children and really enhance those practices in the classrooms and beyond. right? Your experience should be empowering, right? You should feel that you have the ability to execute those strategies in the very best way possible. Again, keep the chats, the comments coming. We see you. It should be connecting in our experiences on Cox, the slide before, and then it should be a safe environment, and it should be also essential, right? And so with that, we want to invite you, please, by all means, sign up on Cox Campus if you haven't done so already. All of the sessions, the courses that you've experienced have come by way of Cox Campus and by the generous support of our donors. And so the actual Cox Campus website will be posted in the chat, but it's also there for your viewing on the screen. So we appreciate you for joining in that with us today. It is absolutely, here's my favorite cost, free. It's free of charge. And so we invite you to create a membership if you have not done so already. We know that many of you have because you've taken the course, but if you have not, that's okay. You can do it today, right? Let's not that rhyme, Lethea. But it's okay. Go ahead and sign up for it and invite a friend to also sign up for Cox Campus as well. And so before we get into our learning objectives, we just want to do a little quick poll, right, Sam? I think we want to do a quick poll here as we jump into the learning objectives. It should be on the screen for you. Have you taken the Power of Language course for infants and toddlers? Please go ahead and answer really quickly. Wow, you all are quick.
Wow.
Coming up really fast. We see the responses already. Keep them coming.
And we've got about 19 people participating so far.
Absolutely. Hey, Ruthie from Tampa, we see you. A few more seconds with the poll. We see you in the chat. We see you on the poll. Awesome, thank you so much. Wow, Lethea, look at that.
Okay.
Have about 33% who have taken the course and about 67 who have not, and that's okay. We thank you if you've already taken the course. This will be a deeper dive into the course content here with us today. And if you haven't, it's okay. Take notes, be ready to jump in. We look forward to you taking that and joining some of our discussion chats and seeing other resources on Cox as well. And so with that in mind, here are some of our course objectives, and they're very aligned with our objectives for the course on Cox, right? And we're just taking, again, a deeper dive today, having more discussions about the power of language. And so we, of course, want to develop an understanding of the importance of building early language skills. We want to understand the importance of relationships for language development and understand the elements of responsive interactions, right? So those are our objectives, and we will dive in. We will dive in.
Yes. All right, so for this first intro activity, we want to take a look at this video. And so maybe you've seen it before, maybe you haven't, totally okay. But we're going to engage in a couple questions around what we see. So as you're watching this video and listening, take note of what you notice, of what you see, hear, or even experience yourself as you're watching this video. And take note of what resonates with you. And so we're going to come back and kind of share and just make those connections to the different types of content that we'll get into today. So again, what do you notice? What resonates with you? And we'll share out together via the chat or coming off mic. All right, we might need to reshare with the audio. Can you guys hear? Okay, we're gonna get the sound together. Thank you so much for y'all's patience. And so we'll try that again.
Babies this young
There we
are
go.
extremely responsive to the emotions and the reactivity and the social interaction that they get from the world around them. This is something that we started studying 30, 40 years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. In the still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby, who's about a year of age.
I'm like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this. And then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, "Come on, why aren't we doing this?" Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it. They actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.
It's a little like the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on, that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
All right, so let's take a moment to pause and reflect on what you noticed in that video and what resonated with you. And so 2 ways that we want to engage with you around this is either dropping your thoughts into the chat, or if you would like to come off the microphone, using the raise hand symbol or button at the bottom of your screen. If you're on like a laptop device, there should be a raise hand with a little hand symbol, and you can click that to let us know if you'd like to come off the microphone and share your thoughts. Otherwise, feel free to use the chat to share your thoughts, and we'll read aloud some of the reflections.
Yeah, so Laura's listed, what did you notice and what resonates? We'd love to hear from you. Oh, I see it, Lethea. Kylie is saying, this shows the importance of interactions between child and adult.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or reflections? The baby and mom have a wonderful relationship, as shown. It's back and forth interactions. Whoa, the comments are coming in now. Let's see. Uh-oh. Yeah. The back and forth interactions. Yeah, how quickly they picked up on the mom not being responsive.
Jennifer said, I noticed how engaged she was with baby during the good and bad. She kept eye contact and kept pulling him back to center.
Yeah. Yeah, the stress, the blinking a lot during the still phase to try to keep from crying. So the stress of it, absolutely.
Angela said how quick the baby picked up on mom not being responsive. It's important to keep that in mind, that communication is also nonverbal as well as verbal.
Yeah.
Laura said, amazing to me how quickly a young person can feel distress.
Yeah. The positivity coming from mom resonated. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah. Yes, Molly, we're happy. I think we're all happy that the mom and baby kind of came back together and got re-engaged, and just showing again that positive, how important it is to have that positive relationship and those positive interactions and yeah, experiences together. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm noticing a lot of comments around just the amount of stress that was conveyed during the video.
Sure.
During those unresponsive moments. I'm just going to check if anybody had wanted to come off mute. Just taking a quick look. Okay. Looks like we don't have any there. That's fine. Got some more messages. All right. So you all definitely picked up on the differences between mom being engaging and responsive, interacting with her little one, and then the very distinct differences that we noticed when mom was just a blank face and was not giving anything in return to her child's attempts to communicate. So we start off with this video just to kind of ground everyone in the importance of responsive interactions. And so for those of you who took the Power of Language course, you engaged in all different types of ways to be responsive with infants and toddlers. And for those of you who haven't taken it just quite yet, we'll review some of those different types of responsive interactions. And like what we saw in this video, mom started off with those responsive interactions, and then we saw mom switch off those responsive interactions. So thinking about that applied in the classroom and the different actions that we take as we engage with infants and toddlers in those spaces, and how we can make sure that we're creating a responsive environment and engaging with children in all opportunities that we can. And also the video illustrating those negative consequences. So just being sure that we're doing all that we can to engage each and every child and creating a welcoming environment. So why does this all matter? Why does language matter? Well, research demonstrates that the single strongest predictor of a child's academic success is not socioeconomic status, level of parental education, income, or ethnicity, but rather the quality and quantity of words spoken to the baby in the first 3 years of life. So it's crucial for our infants and toddlers to have lots of exposure to language all day, every day. So that's the beauty of what we're able to do in classrooms as educators, is to be able to cultivate this language-rich environment to help build children's brains. And so we know that language is the key to building later language and literacy skills. So if we miss that step, children aren't going to have a very strong foundation for later learning. So we want to ensure that we are providing a firm and strong foundation so that children have greater success later down the line. And so there's a strong body of research that demonstrates that those first 3 years, those are optimal years for pushing in and lifting up all of that language during that time. So babies, they're hearing their family speak around them, they're analyzing and evaluating what they hear, they're creating a preference for phonemes in their home language and enriching their brain with language. And then through consistent, robust language nutrition, it's creating opportunities for language to develop naturally from within the child's environment or their ecosystem. And that creates some new neural pathways. So it's important to talk, it's important to read, it's important to sing and play with babies, so it can help to build their brain. And so that social emotional brain, that's like our gatekeeper here. So children develop that social emotional health, their oral language abilities, and executive functioning when there's safety and when there's care. So we want to make sure that we are engaging in those responsive interactions and creating that safe, welcoming environment. Because trauma, neglect, negativity, all of that impacts language, and it impacts learning. So we want to ensure that, again, we're creating language-rich environments with children. And so this next slide is going to have us take a little look at a snapshot of the optimal deep reading brain construction. And so again, language builds a reading brain. And as we know that we're not born with the ability to read, so we're not coming out the womb reading. It's something that we learn over time. And so during the first 5 years of life, where we have a star over the preparing bubble, where we have third trimester to 5 years, that preparing stage is so important for building a reading brain. And that's the most important time. So talking with children, responding to their attempts to communicate are all important in building their brain. So under optimal conditions, we are immersing children in a language-rich environment. And children are learning from those language experiences, and that's building that foundation for beginning reading. And then when brains are properly nurtured and prepared, the act of reading comes more easily as they get into the monitoring and teaching stage, and then getting into the expanding stage where they're reading to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lethea. And so we want to take a moment to look at the developmental progression of oral language, those early years, and how that happens, right? But we are going to have fun with it. This is the time where you get to play a little game and come off of mute if you like, or drop it in the chat. You kind of have to be quick with this game, right? And we know just from even what Lethea was just sharing, children actually communicate differently and in more complex ways as they get older, right? But even from the youngest age, even from an infant, they are still communicating. It may not be with words yet, but they are still communicating with us. So with this game, we want to show an indicator on the screen with the next slides, and you will try to decide which age group this is for the child, which age group it is, and how the child is actually communicating with us. So for the sake of the game, here are the age groups, right? Infant is 0 to 12 months, okay? Young toddler, 12 to 24 months, or like 1, 2. Older toddler, 24 to 36 months, or 2 to 3. Right. And again, I know this webinar is more focused on infant toddler, but we want to show the progression. So we will look at also preschoolers 3 and 4, right? And then of course, pre-K 4 and 5. So get ready. We're going to put the indicator up, and you have to guess which age group is this, right? Okay, think about it. How the child is communicating in this way. So what age group is it? And as Lethea shared, it's about, it's not only about that language, it's about us being responsive to their attempts of trying to communicate with us, right? So we're going to dive into that. Are you all ready? I think they're ready, Lethea. So let's go with the first indicator on the next slide.
All right.
All right. I see some people saying yes already. So here we are. Crying differently for different needs. So is this infant, young toddler, older toddler, preschool, pre-K? Oh, I see a lot. Oh, somebody shouted it out. They said infant. Okay, I see it in the chat. Lots of responses say infant. All right. That's my drum roll. Y'all bear with me. Here it is. Y'all are so right. Let's go back. Okay. Yes, it is an infant. And it's right. They're usually crying differently for different needs, right? But they also communicate or share their thoughts by making those pleasurable sounds, right? Smiling when they see us, right? Babbling and using single words, right? So this is the main ways, right? This is just a kind of the milestones, right? Just kind of a quick view of how they're mainly trying to communicate with us. And so if we're going to be responsive, right? how would we do that with this infant? If this is the way that they're communicating with us, come on and drop it in the chat. Come on and come off of mute and tell us, how can we, how are we then being responsive to their needs? Come on and share that with us. Yes, cool and smile back. Yes, Molly. Yes, absolutely. How else can we do it? Any other responses or thoughts about how we can positively respond with this infant? Absolutely. The serve and return. Oh, we see that some people have taken the course. Absolutely. Back and forth. Oh, here it comes. Non-verbally, using the gentle touches. All of, yes, absolutely. You all have dropped some amazing responses in the chat. Absolutely. Lethea, I think they're ready for the next one.
I think so. This is wonderful.
But eye contact, I see it, Shelly. Okay,
Yes,
so
still coming in.
here we go. Often asking for or directing attention to objects by naming them. Again, infant, young toddler, older toddler, preschool, pre-K. Which one do you think it is? Okay, I see a mix here. I see young toddler, older toddler. Okay. All right. Yeah, I see a good mix. 1, 2.
2.
Okay. My drum roll. Here we are, older toddlers. Absolutely. And of course, I'll go ahead and share this with you, right? It will be some crossover sometime, right? This is just a guide, you know, to let us know how they are mainly communicating with us. Yeah. But there, of course, could be some crossover at times. So I'll give you all that little tip there, okay? But this is the main way, and you're right, older toddlers, and they are communicating or sharing their thoughts by having a word for almost everything. How many of us know some older toddlers that have words for almost everything?
I do.
Yes, using 2 to 3 words to talk about or ask for things, right? Absolutely. So once again, I want to ask the question, if we know this to be true, if we are really focusing in on the power of language and the power of our interactions and positively responding to the needs of this child, what can we do here? What can we do? Go ahead and share it in the chat or come off of mute and tell us a little bit more. I know the pause always means that they are typing. Oh, because all of a sudden we'll see a lot of answers come really quickly. So we're going to give a moment. I wish I had my Jeopardy music. Okay, let me stop. We interact back. Absolutely. Talking. Yes. The rhyming questions. Yes, 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 and yes again. Yes. Recast their spoken words. Yes, Mary. Into a grammatically accurate sentence. Absolutely. Yes. So the question is, again, we're taking this game to look at the oral language and the development progression of the oral language, and really how the children are communicating with us. And so if this is how they are communicating with us and sharing their thoughts with us, then how might we use the power of language? How might we use responsive interactions to engage back with them? Okay. And you all are on it, on it, on it, on it, on it. Yes. Providing additional words to describe what they are saying. Thank you, Regina. Absolutely. I see many comments in the chat, many comments. I'm just kind of shouting out the ones that my eyes land on, but you all are on it. Are we ready for the next one, Lethea?
I think we are.
Yes, 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 yes. Here it is. Putting 2 words together. More cookie, no juice. Mommy book. Which age group is this? Infant, young toddler, older toddler, preschool, pre-K. Which one is it? Oh, you all are so quick. I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay. Okay.
I'm young toddler.
I see it. Okay. That's my drum roll. Yes, you all were on it. Absolutely. So here are the other ways that they are trying to communicate with us. They're saying more words every month, right? If we're working with this age group, you could probably attest to it, right? Using some 1 to 2 word questions. Again, we see that word kitty, go bye-bye. And somebody mentioned that earlier. We definitely want to recast, what they are saying, acknowledge their attempts, right? That's important. We want to acknowledge all attempts of our children as they are communicating with us, and then, help to build on what it is that they are saying, and using many different consonant sounds at the beginning of words. Absolutely. So again, what can we do? How can we share back with this young toddler? How can we use the responsive interactions to really communicate back? How can we use that power of language, which is what this discussion is all about, right? Come on, you all, drop it in the chat. I know you're taking a few moments. Repeat words, absolutely. Alice, thank you. Yes. Talk back and stretch a little bit more, absolutely.
Yes. Those words.
Play words with pictures and talk about it. And that's especially important, even for our dual language learners, right, Lethea?
Mm-hmm.
Respond with manners. I love it, Jennifer. Repeat and acknowledge. Absolutely. You all are on it. On it. Love it. Keep the comments coming. We're going to go to the next one. Yes. Sinking. Yes. Okay, let's go to the next one. I will make these a little quick because we know that we've covered the infants and toddlers, which is the main focus of this session. But we want you to see, again, that progression. So using a lot of sentences that have 4 or more words. Here it is. Let's go ahead and reveal the answer for this one. Absolutely, preschooler. When I'm 3 and 4 years old, I share my thoughts by, again, talking about activities at school or at a friend's home, usually talking easily without repeating syllables or words. Yeah, this is what's happening as they get a little bit older, right? And that we see that progression happening. Absolutely. And so ways that we can, and you all have mentioned a lot of the responses already, and ways in which we can honor our preschoolers who are in this phase, just asking more questions, right? Just really acknowledging their attempts to communicate with us. They can usually stay on topic by this time, sometimes with the young kids, they start with one story about what happened at school, and it will end with a story about a dinosaur in the backyard. So at this point, they're usually able to stay on topic a little bit more. So absolutely, we want to acknowledge that. We want to keep it going with them, and we'll again dive into more strategies about how to do that. Let's look at the next one, the last one on the screen. I think we have one more.
Yes.
Yeah, this is telling stories that stay on topic. So again, we're getting here, right? As they get older, they're able to stay on topic a little bit more here. You can go ahead and reveal the answer. So this is pre-K, again, 4-5. We had that crossover 3-4. Now this is more 4-5. And they're using the sentences that give lots of details, right? They're communicating easily with other children and adults, using the same grammar as the rest of the family. And again, telling those stories that stay on topic. You all are amazing. How about that?
Round of applause.
Yes, absolutely. So keep it going. Acknowledge it. Keep it going. I want us to watch a quick video as well to see the interactions of this particular caregiver in the classroom with her toddlers here. And so, as Lethea challenged us with the first video, look at it. Think about these questions that are on the screen. How are they communicating? What do you notice about how the teacher is interacting with the children? Okay, think about that. And since we're here, go ahead and feel free to drop comments in the chat as you notice things. Okay, feel free to do that. So let's take a look at this video.
Center time is another great opportunity for building language. Let's now look at how Shaquita interacts with the children during center time. As you watch, notice how Shaquita engages with every child in the center and follows their interest in food as she pretends to make brownies.
We're gonna eat some nice, sweet, delicious brownies. You pouring some more in there for me? Thank you, pour it in. Oh, I see Alyssa has strawberries. Do you wanna add your strawberries to the mix? Yeah. Oh, Ziamora added bananas to the brownie mix. They're gonna put fruit in there. This is gonna be really sweet. Mwah. Delicious. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, our brownies are ready. Oh, smell that. Oh, smell it. Oh, that smells delicious. Oh, smell it, Ziamora. Mmm. A piece for you. All right, it's hot. You gotta blow it. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot. You want a piece? Here, you get a piece. Make sure you blow it. It's hot. You want some, Ziamora? Yes. Here you go. Make sure you blow it. It's hot. Remember when we had soup last week and we had to blow it because it was so hot? We have to make sure we blow our brownies because they just came out the oven. So good. Muito bem, muito bem.
Love it, love it, love it. I see your comments coming in the chat already. Regina, thank you. Yes, connecting it to past experiences. Yes, hold on. Oh, it's moving so quick. I love how she models for the students, not just once, but several times. Yes, Angela, thank you for sharing that.
And Mary says she uses each child's name as she speaks to them, which assists in drawing their attention to what she says. She's using great verbs too, partnered with actions to reinforce them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great reflections. And again, we're going to dive a little bit deeper. You all have some great comments in the chat as well that will lead us into the next part. So thank you for your observations here. Lethea, take it away.
All right, so a lot of what we've been talking about is all centered around these relationships. It is all about relationships. So some of these components involve being responsive with children. So like we saw in the video with Shaquita, she was responsive to the children in the group. She was engaging with all of them, narrating what they were doing, narrating what she was doing. It's reciprocal, so there's the give and take. So definitely keying into all children's attempts to communicate and communicating back to them. It also involves relating to families. So we definitely want to develop those partnerships with families so that we can learn more about their family, their background, their culture, and be able to incorporate those aspects into the classroom and help us build stronger relationships with children. There's also another piece around respectful and supportive of culture and home language as well. So we definitely want to be mindful of, do we have any dual language learners in our classroom, and what can we learn from families about their culture and be able to infuse that into our classroom and into some of our activities as well. So strong relationships.
Yes, yes,
what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, Lethea. And so can we pause right here, Lethea, you think, and poll our viewers, use the chat box, raise a hand, share it on mic. We would love to hear you. How do you build relationships with the children in your classroom? We've shared ways here. We've talked about the developmental progression of their language and how they're communicating with us. What do you do in your classroom? We want to hear about it.
Because we know you guys have very diverse experiences, so let's pull some of those ideas. So again, if you want to click the raise hand or use that chat box.
And we'll give it a moment. There we are.
There we go. So we've got Talia, and excuse me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Surveying the parents to see what the children like, getting to know the children and the families they come from always helped. Yes, definitely building those relationships, getting to know who's in your classroom. By talking to them, how I respond to them, for sure, those conversations are essential with
Yeah.
little ones and with families. Having one-on-one conversation with the children and parents,
Mm-hmm.
definitely very important.
Mm-hmm. These are great. Keep them coming. Lizzie, I believe you have some great resources that will help with this as well.
Yes, so on our next slide, we've got our All About Me and My Family survey. And then we also have the survey in Spanish as well. So for any areas that in particular have more of a Hispanic population, or you've got some dual language learners in your classroom, we do have a Spanish version available, but it's a great survey to give out at the beginning of the school year, or as you get new children in your classroom, to learn more about them and their family. So it'll ask questions about, their favorite toys or songs, or, what are some things that you do when the child is upset, so that you as a teacher can get to know that child on a different level, and then be able to infuse some of that into the classroom practices. So if they do have some favorite songs, maybe you can incorporate that into some transitions or during your morning meeting. So just a tool to help learn more about the families, so that you can make some different connections. And so Laura just dropped some of those links into the chat so that you all can access that on your own time. And so again, just one of those tools that we have to kind of help facilitate that. So our next question is around, what does it mean to support dual language learners through relationships? So for any of you that have had any dual language learners in your classroom, feel free to drop in the chat, or if any of you have any ideas around how you would support dual language learners through relationships, please feel free to share with us. We want to hear from you. And then again, we've got some resources from Cox Campus to share to help with that.
Awesome. I see responses coming in already. Yeah, building confidence in being dual learners. Yeah. Ask the child to share their native words with the class. I love that, Rebecca.
Yeah, definitely infusing that language into the class.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's important to get to know their likes and dislikes for any children in the class, for sure.
All right, trying to see if any other comments are coming through or any hands raised. Yeah, here we are. Sparks interest. Let me see. It goes by so fast.
Yeah, read a familiar book or story to class in their native language.
Having the charts and posters. Yeah. Learn a song or two. The family sing at home. Absolutely. Teacher can use common phrases in their child's language. Absolutely.
Meet with the family to learn some key words in their language. Yes. Sharing pictures.
Yeah.
Using common phrases. These are all wonderful ways to support.
Wonderful. This is, again, the power of Cox Campus, us coming together, us sharing together. There are many ideas being shared here that you all can utilize, take back and use in your programs as well.
Christina said, by engaging with the child, you are not only saying that you are interested in the child, but the more a child feels seen, the more likely they are to be expressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family meals, labeling classroom items in the child's language. Yeah. Such great feedback. Lethea, I want to go to some of these classrooms.
You and me both. Let's go. All right. Let's take a look at a few resources that we have on the Cox Campus to help with supporting dual language learners that you may have in your classroom. One of them is on the left side, the Supporting Dual Language Learners Family Language and Culture Survey. So this is a great survey to send out to all of your families to find out, who amongst your bunch speaks other languages at home so that you can start to learn and be able to lean on those families to learn more. Or if you yourself know some other languages, be able to tap into that to make those connections in the classroom. And taking that a step further, if you find out you do have some dual language learners in your classroom, we have another resource to help with those next steps. On the right side, we have a resource called Supporting Dual Language Learners, our Classroom Language Plan. And that's really where you kind of sit down, reflect on, okay, who's in my classroom? What languages do they speak? What cultures are represented? What do I already have in my classroom? Like what types of books or materials in my centers or dramatic play? You know, do I have like dolls from other cultures? Do I have like pictures up from representing different types of families and other types of cultures or celebrations? And so thinking about what you already have, some things that you may need to add now that you know more about who's in your classroom, and thinking about who on staff or what families you could reach out to, or friends that you have that know a bit more about some of these different cultures so that you can infuse that into the classroom environment. So there's some reflection questions that'll really help you guide through that process. And then we have additional resources to take you through those additional steps from there. And so thank you, Laura has dropped those links into the chat. And she had also dropped a couple links earlier about our 2 new dual language learner courses, which are phenomenal. But for our infants and toddlers, we know that dual language learner content is embedded as well. All right, so here's a question that we can all kind of chime in on is, what might it mean to a child to hear their home language spoken at school by their teacher? Now, I know we had a comment earlier about, child feeling seen and more likely to be expressive. Are there any other thoughts around that? Again, what might it mean to a child to hear their home language spoken at school by their teacher? Comfort.
Comfort,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially learning a new language on top of that, it probably feels very comforting to hear their language spoken by their teacher. Exciting. Yeah.
I like it, Alice.
Their face probably lights up like, oh, wait, my teacher knows.
Absolutely. Valued, Angela. Yes. Comfort again. Ability to connect. Will be honest and open and expressive, Jennifer. Yes. This is all important. Pride and joy. Familiar. Absolutely. Excitement and feeling valued. Again, great responses here.
Yeah, these are wonderful offerings.
Special, yeah. Yeah. Wanted, important. Trust. Got it, Jennifer.
Definitely.
Connected.
Connected.
No problem. We understood, Jennifer.
All right. Well, I think that we can kind of pivot into review of responsive interactions, especially for our friends who haven't quite taken it just yet. So
not yet, but I know that they will after this great discussion today, right? And so you all touched on it a lot in the chat, and we've touched on it here, but this is the power of language and just being responsive, positively responding to the needs of children. That is what responsive interactions are all about. You all have shared that, and we know that the ideal environment for building that reading brain that Lethea spoke to us about in the beginning is an environment that is loving, it's warm, all of the things you all said, connected, right? It's trusting, it's building those relationships between the caregiver and the child. And so with all of that kind of brings us to these elements of these 5 elements on your screen of responsive interactions, just the power of it, all of that, and tuning in, the facial expressions, the touch, gestures, that child-directed speech, right? And all of those things are important for building a great environment for our children. We want to make sure that we're incorporating that in, and you all have said so many other important things as well. Yeah. Okay, about even the child-directed speech, parentees, things of that nature. I like to say it's that social hook for the baby's brain, Lethea. That's the way I like. It's when I say, Lethea, how are you? It's so great to see you today. So it's not baby talk, right? Like, goo goo gaga, what do you do? It's not that. We want our children need to hear real words, right? But it is that high-pitched tone, stretching out those words so that they can really hear the sounds of language. So we want to make sure that we're including that. It comes natural sometimes. I don't know about you. I even do it with my dog. My dog, he turns around, right? So it is, like I say, we've heard researchers say that as well. It's like that social hook for the baby's brain. Hope that helps. If not, drop us a comment in the chat so we can, got it, thumbs up, gotcha. Okay. And so we talked a little bit about that what, and this is the why. This is why it is so important, right? It nurtures positive relationships. It builds that healthy brain, the trusting relationships. You all hit on it, right? Increased language learning, and it teaches empathy, right? These are all just the reasons why. This is the why behind the what. Let's look at the next slide and really see what happens when this doesn't happen. This is kind of that when it's absent, when those responsive interactions and the power of great language is absent, you know, where we see more of the harsh tones and the negative facial expressions, no eye contact, negative messages, that builds the opposite of what we just said on the slide before. And let's just face it, right? It's a little bit more difficult in our current climate, right? Oftentimes we're wearing masks. You know, it's harder for them to see, you know, those expressions depending on what type of mask that we're wearing or our words, the way we're forming words with our lips. So we have to be mindful and really kind of up the ante a little bit, you know, pick it up just a bit more when we know that we have some barriers that may be present. So we just want to remember that. We want to be thinking about why it's so important, what can positively happen when we implement these interactions, and then what could happen if we don't. And yeah, and so we're going to skip forward to the next slide for the sake of time. This is so good. We're running out of time, never out of content. Be sure to jump on Cox, right? This is another question. How are you currently using responsive interactions in your classrooms, right? Like, what do you do? You know, it's just amazing to me how something as simple as like a facial expression can shift and a whole mood and can really change things, right? Just by the way we, you know, look positively and smile. It makes a difference. So if you don't mind dropping the chat for us, what you're doing to create those environments in your classroom. Lethea, did you want to add anything there? No, we'll just look for the comments.
Look for some comments again, thinking about that child-directed speech, the touch, facial expressions, tuning in. I feel like I am forgetting one.
Yeah. Oh, you know, Laura just dropped an important link in the chat, because we do have a new trauma-informed like video that's posted on Cox. Check that link out. You don't want to miss that. So very important, and can actually help us again in a climate where we're all trying to navigate and really remain responsive towards the needs of children. Oh my goodness, this time has gotten away from us.
Uh-oh.
We'll jump on to,
let's see.
We'll jump on to, really?
I'll just kind of walk you.
Slide. We're gonna go talk with me. We have a few more videos. We can go to the slide, just thinking ahead, looking ahead, because there's some other courses to come. I know many of you are going to take Power of Language, but there's some other courses that we want to connect it to. A lot of it overlaps, as it should. And so we want to prepare you for that. This is something to think about. I think it's slide 45.
We're getting there.
It's about, I know,
We had so much
there
fun.
it is. Yes, thank you all so much. Thank you, Sam. I know she's working magic behind the scenes.
Yes,
Think ahead to this. Again, it overlaps, it's connected. As we're looking at the Talk With Me practice, we're looking at how all of this great language, all of these responsive interactions can happen throughout the day, not just one designated time of day during circle time. No, throughout the day, during all of our interactions. Oftentimes it's driven by the child's interests, often occurs in the context of play, includes, like you all said before, the back and forth exchanges between the caregiver, the teacher, and child. It requires, again, those responsive interactions. We want to scaffold questions, open-ended versus closed-ended questions. Get on Cox. That's all I can tell you. You don't want to miss it. Get on Cox. There's so many resources there for you. There's the poster there. Lethea, you want to tell them about the poster really quickly?
Yes, so this is, once you guys move through the Power of Language course, your next one will be Talk With Me, where you will learn about how to talk with children that are in those infant and toddler spaces. So tuning in, asking questions, lifting language, and keeping it going. So partial, some of it is some things that we talked about today. So that's just a little look ahead. So as we're kind of wrapping up here and kind of zipping through these final slides, definitely appreciate you all joining us for this time. We have some closing slides that we would love to share before you exit out. And if you could share with us in the chat, what's one thing you're going to try out in your classroom next? So whether that's trying out a new resource, or maybe you're going to do one of those responsive interaction elements and really like ham it up while you're in there. So to close out, we've got a wonderful partnership with Georgia's Marietta City Schools, and they're sharing their journey on Cox Campus. So please check out the Literacy and Justice for All page on our Cox Campus. They are putting the science of reading into action. So be sure it takes out some time to check that out. And we've got more sessions coming up. So check us out in October. We've got reading stories with children. We've got an infant toddler session at 3 and then preschool pre-K at 4. So let your coworkers know. And along those lines, we've got
a webinar.
Please take the poll. Tell us how we did. We value your feedback so that we can continue to make tweaks and be able to provide additional content to help support you all on your journeys in the classroom.
We appreciate you for taking the poll really quickly as you exit out. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. We had fun with you. Get on Cox Campus, invite a friend. We'll see you there.
And join us in the discussion community. We check it. So if you got any questions, drop them in there. We will answer. So we are excited for you on this journey.
Absolutely.
You all guys are so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. A few more seconds. Many of you all are finishing the poll. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Yes, much appreciated. All right, take care.